Hello, welcome. I'm Ryan Lee. Thank you for joining us as both teams are coming off of a loss. For Colorado, it's 5 straight, including their second on PKs, while for Minnesota, they look to add to an offensive element after losing to San Jose 1-0. We take a look at the starting 11s. 3 changes for Eric Boucher. You have a 4-4-2 going for the Rapids as they have 2 of their first-rounders from 2025, both Harris and Stuart Baines into the lineup. Today is Harris's second-team debut. Vidal and Chumba in the midfield after Chumba made his appearance with the first team in the Open Cup, and the back 5 remains unchanged, where Campagnolo starts 5 of 6 for Rapids 2 in 2026, including being in goal for the last time Rapids 2-1 on decision day a year ago. As for Minnesota, a pair of changes from their 1-0 loss to San Jose. Caldera is up top alongside with Randall, with a 5 front set for Fernando Adi. You have Friedman, the lone new body in the mix, his second start for the first-year pro, as Mawa also joins the defense. Game number 2, start number 1, and Bita is back in goal. He only allowed 1 goal against San Jose the last time around. We come to you from the campus of the University of Denver, where opportunities have come for both teams, Minnesota and Colorado. Match week 7 concludes in the Mile High City, where Colorado Rapids 2 are still in search of their opening win of the 2026 season. For Minnesota United 2, they have that pair of wins, but they also look to return to 500 if they can win in regulation tonight, as we are at the soccer stadium at the University of Denver. Both teams are coming off of a loss, look to get back into the win column. For Colorado, it'd be the first time all season long. As for Minnesota, they're looking to get to a 3-3 even record at 500. It's the first time this year that the Rapids have been at this stadium on the campus of the University of Denver. They've played their 2 other home games at the tail end of March. They were both at the first team stadium at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. So an opportunity to not only come home after a trip to St. Louis, but maybe opportunities to get into the win column for the first time in the 2026 campaign. 5 consecutive losses for Eric Boucher's unit. Last time out in St. Louis, it was a loss in penalties. They've gotten points in 2 of the last 3 matches, but of those 2 games that went to PKs, they were both losses after opening up the win with 2 consecutive losses and a total 5-1 goal differential against them. But Eric Boucher feels like there's a promising opportunity for this Rapids 2 team. Despite falling short of the expectation early, Boucher was very pleased with how this team has progressed in some of the key areas in the game, and that navigating rocky waters, like what they've dealt with the first 5 games out, is something that takes nothing more than patience. It's going to take time for these guys to get into the system. A lot of new guys coming from last year's roster that made it all the way to the MLS Next Pro Final. Minnesota have held teams off, but they're still looking for that extra touch on the offensive side for a unit that is in the bottom 3rd in goals scored. Minnesota United will be right to left in the all blue. In the burgundy and blue going left to right will be Colorado Rapids 2, as we have started here at University of Denver Soccer Stadium in the Mile High City. Ryan Lee and our entire MLS Next Pro crew, we thank you for joining us, where there's a huge opportunity to flip the fate of both of these 2 sides. Colorado just looked to get their first win of the season in any fashion. Only 5 losses, 3 in regulation, 2 in the shootout. As for Minnesota, coming off of a loss after starting off their opening 4 games 2-2. Back 5 unchanged for Eric Boucher. Decato with Grant Gilmore, Kai Thomas, and James Cameron to round out. They're one of the few units that went unchanged for the Rapids as they look to hustle back. Vidal with the assistance from Decato, back to Zach Campagnolo. Zaniolo's been in net for 4 or 5 of the 6 games, including today. He was in goal for both of the games where Colorado got their lone 2 points of the season. The PK loss to KC mid-March and the PK loss in St. Louis last time out. Looking to maybe gather some more points on the table are Rapids too. Back towards Minnesota. Anderson Ferris. Allows a route for Minnesota. Darius Randall was fighting along the sideline, couldn't keep it in play. Back it goes to the Rapids. Thomas widens. Cameron wants to go up the line. Copeland ahead. Can't continue the play. Minnesota out of their own end. Vigilante lost control of it. Gives it back to the Rapids. Deep ball attempted. You had Bryce Jamieson leading the way, but instead it comes back to the 19-year-old Latvian Kristers Bita. First start last time out against San Jose Earthquakes 2. MLS Next Pro debut where he only allowed 1 goal, which is really solid, all things considered. But that's his introduction into MLS Next Pro after spending the last 3 years in his native Latvia in both the first and second divisions. Jamieson rises, can't lead. Harris in pursuit. Up the gut it comes, chasing it down, Jacob Friedman. Friedman still has it. But he coughed it up. And the defensive efforts by Colorado give it back to Minnesota. Bita wanting to stretch the field with Caldera, but they're offside. Caldera still chasing the dragon that he chased down in the opening game of the year. That hat trick in match week 1 against Austin. He's the only player on Minnesota with multiple goals and hasn't gotten any in the back of the net since week 1. But that 3 is still good enough to lead the Loons. Bouncer comes outside. Cameron regains control. Minnesota will hang on for a little bit. There have even been opportunities for players from both sides to climb their way into the first team ranks. What a ball, trying to stretch the field. Kimani Stewart-Baines leading the way, one of the offensive threats. One of 5 first-round draft picks of the Rapids back in 2025 in that MLS Super Draft. 2 of them starting today, both Stewart-Baines and Harris. Both of which were also on the first team bench last night when they were at Mile High Stadium playing against Inter Miami, which actually set a brand new attendance record for MLS. Harris in front, but you have Nick Dang, the blockade. Imagine the environment for some of those guys just recently drafted. Stuart Baines, first rounder in 2024. Alex Harris, first rounder in 2025, both #1 overall. Both in the first round, #4 overall for both of them. And already opportunities to step up into the first team. Harris even got on the field for about a couple of stoppage time minutes last night also. Turnover forced. Caldera stripped down. Fidal gets whistled. The turnover by Minnesota just went off of a body and had a lane for Caldera. Ali Fidal was the one who gets whistled down as our fishing crew in the yellow makes their first major judgment. Laura Rodriguez, Joe Sachowski, Jared Mosher, and Bowen Taylor is our crew tonight. You have Luciano Pichota. And you have Anderson Ferris as well, but it looks like it's Pichota. Pichota had eyes for the box. Campagnola watches it cross the end line. One of the longest tenured head coaches in MLS Next Pro with Eric Boucher, who's really seen everything and been everywhere. He's been everywhere from the bottom of the table to the very top. Currently last place in the West are Colorado, at the same spot they were at the end of 2025, at the end of 2024, pardon. And sandwiched in between that last year, the MLS Next Pro Finals berth. And then even in 2023, they made all the way to the Western Conference Finals. And then you have Minnesota United on the other end, fresh off their first playoff appearance, looking to change over the two-list to Fernando Adi. But it's Colorado chipping it in. Jamison goes for goal, the header is wide. Bryce Jamison, 0-6-0 with the attempt on frame, and they say it took a nick on the way, so it'll be the first corner of the match. Nice opportunity here. You had a good chip, and you had that one-on-one battle between Jamison, and it looked like it was Dang. So this will give the first opportunity at the corner for the Rapids. It'll occupy the near side. Service way too far for Harris. It'll go out for a Minnesota throw. Colorado will steal it back, leading the way, Josh Copeland. Copeland wanted to cut it back. Instead, goes off the back of the defender and remains with Rapids. That was Lennox Mawa who was in the way, the 20-year-old starting in the right back slot. Academy product, just turned 20 over the weekend on Friday. Finding an opening. Descoteaux couldn't keep it in play. You had that incidental contact going for the ball. That was a bit of a slow moment for Darius Randall, but he does make his way back up. Fourth year from Liberia is Darius Randall. 55 games across those 4 seasons in MLS Next Pro is Randall. And Randall's side will keep it moving. Fidel tangled up again by the center circle. This time Harwood, the one who gets dropped. Both teams dealing with their respective bouts of adversity early on, especially for Minnesota's side that have been on their 6th straight game on the road. They get a chance to serve it deep. Pichota, high arc to the area, clip down, still loose, scramble there, but it's a fly ball that's caught by Campagnolo. Campagnolo very alert. Has started in 27 of 28 in MLS Next Pro. For the young 19-year-old from Fort Myers in Florida. Recently called up to the USA Youth International team at the U19 level. Has just established himself. The more and more he gets put in these tough situations, whether if it's the USA Youth Internationals or the Next Pro playoffs last year, coughed up by Thomas. He'll have to scramble back. A chance for Minnesota. Still with it, Caldera from deep and got touched by Campagnolo. No, it did not, it's a goal kick. But a nice dive by Campagnolo on the deep attempt from Caldera. And Caldera trying to do some of it himself. Got the strip, got the shot, but couldn't get it within frame. Descoteaux and Gilmore occupy the right side of the D. Campagnolo very tight across the goal line, and it spins around the post for a goal kick, for a corner kick to Minnesota. Around the goal, out of the line, a quarter for Minnesota. And this is just the pressure of Marcus Caldera causing all sorts of havoc. Everyone knows that he's the one to watch. An All-American in 2023 when he was with the West Virginia Mountaineers. First corner attempt to Minnesota on the far end. High ball. Stoppage favors Colorado. Hopefully a better build-up from the back than the last time they attempted the goal kick on this end. Eric Boucher noted the rocky waters that this team is navigating, especially how everyone reacts to it so differently. But the key that he's been telling his team is to stay patient, considering that the culture and the systems have gotten them success in years past. Service to the middle, out of range for Jamison, only to the hands of Bita. Harwood helps out as neither Dang nor Bite could get it out. Finds its way to center. Jacob Friedman. Circles behind center. Minnesota attempting the long ball again, but only Campagnolo the recipient. Opening 18 minutes of this game, still nothing on the board. Only a corner to speak of for either side. Three total shots in this game so far. Neither have really tested Bite or Campagnolo.
It's a messy ball.
Kai Thomas spent last year with Carolina Core across 2 seasons. He actually made an appearance in the first team of FC Cincinnati when he was a part of their organization back in 2023. Well, certainly had the reps and opportunities in the core system last year, but didn't really have a chance to advance into the first team because of the independent nature that Carolina Core was. But now that he returns to Next Pro with an affiliate, maybe more opportunities for him down the line for the 23-year-old from Doral in Florida. This part of the match is brought to you by UC Health. With personalized in-care locations across Colorado, UC Health is here for you no matter where your story takes you. UC Health, live extraordinary. What an effort from Caldera to free room up for Friedman. Miscommunication, however, up top with Vigilante, and it returns back from Campagnolo with Gilmore as the outlet. Gilmore hammered back, Caldera pressures. Campagnolo maintains motion for Thomas. Decato, third rounder in this last year's draft. Last month got called up to the Grenada international squad after being a 3-year standout with Xavier. Far side, intended for Stuart Baines. You have Philip Tarnu working some magic in the midfield, but only to the result of a Colorado throw. Chance to spring ahead. Copeland. Copeland keeps getting met by Mua, so he comes back to center, where Thomas and Gilmore stand. Jamison hustles back. Partial flow for Gilmore. He's back on. Where Colorado has really struggled on the defensive end, especially in relation to the rest of Next Pro. Their 13 goals allowed are the 4th most in the league. And it doesn't help that they've really struggled to create some of those offensive opportunities also. 3rd fewest shot attempts, within the top 10 fewest shots on target, despite a really good shooting percentage. When you don't take attempts, it doesn't matter how many of them get on target, just by sheer law of averages. If you don't take a lot of attempts, you won't get a lot of chances. And that has been a two-way kryptonite for Colorado. Struggling to create offensively, even to get chances, let alone goals. And then you've had other teams have their way with you at points. Conceded 3 to North Texas, conceded 4 to San Jose, and have conceded at minimum 2 across every one of the 5 games so far. Randall slanting across, Friedman in pursuit. Chased down by Cameron. Friedman the other way, Caldera back to center. Randall waits, he takes, blocked in front. You had bodies from Fadal, but it comes back to Minnesota. Shumba steps up, but Minnesota widened towards Ferris. The Loons wait for their options. Vigilante down the middle, unable to do anything with it, returns to the Rapids. The first-year coach, Fernando Adi, joined the Minnesota United 2 head chair in January earlier this year. Talked about how much he learned in the academy process. A nice chip. Colorado in business, sends it across. Settled down, still loose, take down to the area. And they say no. They say no penalty. They did award the ball to the Rapids, however. All sorts of commotion in the area. And both teams are looking to feast on the long ball. This was sprung up ahead. You had Kamani Stewart, Baines with the attempted centering feed. And then you had the collision of bodies there with Pachota. And the follow-up by Josh Copeland, who was looking to continue building on a career year offensively. Only had 1 goal of all of 2025, already has his first goal in 26. That came last week against St. Louis for Copeland. Jamison keeps it moving. Decato in front, couldn't get it through that. Harris took a clip, but wide. Only 15 games of experience in Next Pro for Alex Harris, but he has been able to find space in the offensive side of the field. Couldn't maximize as he beat both Tarnu and Dang. Alex Harris, formerly the Cornell Big Red, was a second-team All-American in his last year with Cornell in 2024, and that productivity was good enough to get him drafted number 4 overall in 2025. Offside, go Minnesota. Like you mentioned, Harris has had his share of call-ups to the first team, including 4 total games this year. Prior to the weekend, it jumped up to 5 if you include last night's game against Inter Miami at Mile High Field. Too far in front, Stuart Baines. A lot of the attempts from Minnesota have come from that far sideline, as have Colorado's. Both coaches have put a noted emphasis on the utilization of their wings being a potential difference maker in their team's composition going forward. Still have yet to find a shot on target as we're closing in on the half an hour. 4 total attempts, 3 for Minnesota, 1 for Colorado. All we can speak of at 28 minutes deep. This portion of the match is brought to you by Dick's Sporting Goods. Every season starts at Dick's. Chance to spin around. Cameron lost control, coughed up, back to Minnesota. Stuart Baines hustles back and pokes it towards Campagnolo. Griffin double teamed. Thomas in a scramble. Friedman steps up as Minnesota claims it back. Up the gut it comes. We had opportunities for Friedman up the middle. Just, you wouldn't imagine that he's only had 2 starts in MLS Next Pro so far. Is Jacob Friedman. But he has been a threat at all of his stops throughout the NCAA. The rookie from Monmouth, he was there for 3 seasons after transferring from Bryant. But when he was in the NCAA for those seasons, he was a 2-time All-Conference nominee across 2 different conferences, the CAA and the American East. And Friedman already causing all sorts of issues in the opening half an hour of his second pro match starting. Just continues to drive the narrative of how effective Friedman can be no matter where his career comes along. Decato backs it up. Up the middle comes Cameron, lays it back for Thomas. Colorado trying to deal with some of the cloggage that has been of Minnesota's defense. Eric Boucher wants this team to have greater belief in what they're doing, especially when they have the ball at their feet. How some of the good moments throughout the game should uplift players throughout, and how it can create great opportunities to finish it off. Stuart Baines up the gut. Got slapped out of play by a Minnesota defender. Comes back to the Rapids. Decato returns and Minnesota resets. There have been opportunities for guys on both rosters to make first-team appearances, especially as they continue to advance in the U.S. Open Cup. Round of 16 returns in a week and a half from now, 10 days to be exact, as Ferris just dumps Bryce Jamison. But you have Colorado Rapids, who entered the round of 32 with that 1-0 win against Union Omaha, where you had some first-team minutes for Nathan Chumba, the first time he made his appearance with the first team for the young 15-year-old out of the academy. And then you even had opportunities for some of Minnesota United's young prospects to jump in the Open Cup, which ended in PKs against Sacramento Republic, where the Loons would make the round of 16 via penalties. Spot that has been very familiar to many of these players in Next Pro. As we enter roughly the final dozen minutes of the half. Pretty calm, 70-degree day here in Denver. Minimal wind going from our vantage point left to right. Only about 5 miles per hour, but there is a hint of a breeze going at Colorado's back. Bita steps up at the center line. Some space towards the 18. Minnesota looked to steal it back. And a nice takeaway. Fadal couldn't get there. You had a breakaway for Stuart Baines, but what a dive made by Philip Tarnout to disrupt the play. A lot of stretch passes for both teams, looking to catch the other on the counter. Friedman. He caught his man Dicato off guard. The body by Gilmore will produce the first yellow card of the match. You had the strip by Friedman. He's been causing all sorts of issues, and you just see the tangling of legs, the reach in by Grant Gilmore, the first time he's been booked. Starting in all 3 of his appearances in Next Pro. But gets the first yellow card of this match. Opportunity for Minnesota. Caldera sends it to goal off of Stuart Baines, and it hits the roof. Corner favoring Minnesota, and had that bounced differently, who knows what that could have been. Off of the back of Kamani Stuart Baines. Campagnolo, you can see all the dirt in that inner 6-yard box. It's going to cause potentially some footing issues down the line like it did to Campagnolo there. But graciously for him, only to the roof of the goal. Second corner to Minnesota on the far end. In swinger, back post, no one the recipient, comes across the other end. Throw in about as far back as you can physically go without it being a corner. Colorado scrambling out of their own end, but Minnesota will give the Rapids free breathing room after the foul. Copeland. Fadal forced it back to Thomas. The Loons will take over. These two have not played each other since the Western Conference Finals in last year's Next Pro playoffs, where the Rapids took the win. That was actually back at home at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in the Western Conference Finals, where it was them or the Loons to advance, and it was the Rapids. And it's the first time either have played since. Huge turnover for either side. We mentioned Fernando Adi takes over the helm for Minnesota. For Colorado, they just had a lot of opportunities for second team guys to go up to the first team. And also a whole lot of high round draft picks, both last year and this past year's draft, waiting in the wings. Jamison cuts it down, might have been ahead of the pack, but they keep playing. And a nice takeaway. Sliding effort by Dang. Starts the counter for Minnesota. Go to the end as Caldera juggles it. Decato. Caldera will take that foul, considering how well Colorado have been on the counter in today's game. Full steam ahead again. Harris leads the way. Harris turns on the Jets. He just beat up Pichota. Drag down, free kick, and is this a yellow? Pichota's in the book. You just had a dangerous free kick on Minnesota's end that resulted in a corner. Now you have the first big free kick in Minnesota's end favoring Colorado. Harris easily blazing by Pichota. You see the holding of the arm. And that comes to the side of the penalty area. Pichota, first-year pro. Started 6 for 6 for the Loons. And it's Stuart Bain standing alongside Nathan Chumba. Stuart Baines cuts it low, deflected away from the box.
A yellow card was issued to Minnesota United FC to number 9.
And it will result in a throw-in for Colorado.
In the 39th minute.
And you have that drag down from behind as Tarnu forces the whistle. Jamison down the line, forced out of play as Chumba got the touch for another throw-in. This part of the match is brought to you by Kiewitz, official construction and engineering partner of the Colorado Rapids. Back it comes for the Rapids. Copeland, left side, takes a strike and scores! Oh my word! Josh Copeland, what a beauty! Opens the scoring for the Rapids.
Come on, United!
Josh Copeland with goals in back-to-back. He just settles this one at the corner of the area. One step to the right and lets it fly. Beats out Christers, beats out top corner. And the Colorado Rapids have a lead with 5 minutes remaining in the first half.
Let's go, Loans! Come on!
Copeland, the 19-year-old, only had one goal across the entire 2025 campaign. He has his second on the season already in 6 appearances, despite nearly 20 a year ago. Now he opens the scoring for the Rapids, and this game has blown open. And that is also the first shot on target of the match.
Rapids 2 goals scored by number 42, Josh Copeland.
Attempts are nearly split, but that's the first shot on target for either team. Results in the Copeland goal. Now with 3 minutes remaining in the first half stoppage, it comes off of Decatur in pursuit, has help. Decatur scrambles with a try, and it's into the hands of Bita. Minnesota wanted to push ahead again, but they were not in favor, as this was the last attempt by Jabari Decatur, forcing his way in. You had help from Bryce Jamison, who has been in all sorts of positions offensively. He is right on that tightrope line of offsides or not. But you have to respect the hustle and effort by Jabari Decatur to at least get in front of it. And what kind of a breakout pass could that have been for the Loons? They've had plenty of them throughout this game. Both coaches put the emphasis on trying to press further up the field. And Colorado using it to create some offense. Jamison shuffles through, leaves it back for Chumba. Campagnolo off his line, but the attempt by Randall was in a whole different dimension, so it just couldn't be received. Jamison all alone, a breakaway on Bita. Jamison feeds it across, and it took a nick. Looked like it was clipped by Philip Tarnew. This is well offsides, even if it stands, but the attempt by Jamison, we've seen him just tightrope the line of offsides and not all game long. They let that one down. Minnesota had every reason to believe it was offside. And the sliding poke out of play by Philip Tarnew, the 20-year-old back from Liberia, will give Colorado a corner despite Jamison being well offside. But with no VAR in next pro, they are prone for things to be missed by human error, as there's a singular minute to be added on. Second corner to Colorado. Served in low, nothing there. Tangle up. Stuart Baines, the offender. Stuck at the line. Dang. Wanted to step up. Ferris takes the reception at center, and that'll do it for the opening half of play. With 5 minutes to go in the first half, Josh Copeland gets goals in back-to-back to open it up in this match where we end the half at 1-0 Colorado over Minnesota. Coming up at halftime, one of the best player pathway stories we've seen unfolds after the break.
Yeah, boys hear cinnamon, flow tastes sweet like cinnamon. Open up doors, I'm a gentleman. View top floor, I'm still sticking ahead of them. Running on fumes and adrenaline. Do what I do best, can't rush in like a roulette. You can't name a better duet. Don't ask questions, trying to figure out what sound. Don't worry about what next, just wanna know what's next. Man, I say it so loud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now. Oh yes, man, I say it oh so proud. Don't worry about what next, just know we got now.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
Back here in Denver, where the Rapids lead Minnesota 1-0. Julian Hall has taken the MLS by storm, and after helping Red Bulls 2 to the MLS Next Pro Cup a year ago, let's take a look at one of the rising stars in New York Red Bulls.
Julian Hall! Remember the name! It's that man again, Julian Hall! Goal, it goes in! Mehmeti, has he broken through here? Mehmeti across, Hall! Swinging ball towards the back post, it goes! Open goal for Red Bull New York! Julian Zakrzewski Hall!
Born in Manhattan, New York, Julian Hall found the game the same way a lot of kids in this city do.
I first kind of started playing soccer when I was around 4 years old. I would play a lot wherever I could, if it was a field near my apartment or wherever I could, basically. And I just remember, falling in love with the game and wanting to play as much as I can. There's a main place I would play. It's pretty popular in Manhattan. It's called Pier 40, and a lot of people go there. That's where I played with Manhattan Kickers. It's kind of where I really started to realize I really wanted to play soccer seriously and maybe make it professionally.
That love for the game turned into an opportunity, a move into one of the top academies in the country.
Julian came into our system at U14. I think he played about 3 or 4 games with the U14s. I was a U15 coach at the time, so I was observing those games, and you could see straight away he was a special talent. So he quickly got moved up an age group to play with the U15s that season. Made an instant impact with the older age groups.
The level changed quickly, and so did the expectations.
I was very excited to come in and show my ability, and I was playing with my age and I was playing a year up, and the intensity was a different level, I would say, from what I've ever played at that point in my life. So yeah, no, it's an amazing experience.
Chimueno scored off the bench against Seattle, and Julian Hall with the breakthrough! The Golden Boot leader rises to the occasion, and we've got an electric finish here in the U15 final.
He's one of those players that can get you up off your feet. Like, He's direct, he can take players on, he can score goals from inside the box, outside the box in really different ways. And, you know, it would always amaze you how he would find goals in the game.
The next step brought a new set of challenges.
That was the biggest jump for me, going from academy to professional football. The intensity, the physicality, the football, it was all quicker than anything I had experienced before. And, you know, I just thought I did a good job of staying level-headed and not being discouraged about little things.
Working to the midfield, now Gonzalez entering the box, across and a goal! Julian Hall puts the Red Bulls 2 on the board.
I was lucky to be coached by Ibrahim Sakaya, and Bradley Wright Phillips was there a lot of the time as well. They did a good job of helping me progress and helping me not get discouraged and keep going every single day and working hard. The coaching staff really, you know, mended me very well.
Like he's always striving to try and get better at something within within games and training. And then, you know, why he adapts well, he's a natural goal scorer.
For Julian, it was about staying level and keeping the work the same.
When you go to a professional environment, if you're doing the most amount of work and you're clearly working harder than everyone else, it stands out to a lot of people, and that can be something that separates you from everyone else. If you're a hard worker, that could get you to a lot of places, and I think that's just something that established me when I first came into the first team.
That work and mentality has paid off with the fast start of the season.
We're really happy with the way that he's moving himself forward. He has taken the ideas and has really shown that he is picking things up. Obviously, there's the attacking part, his ability to find chances, his ability to take balls on the move, to dribble, to go by guys, run in the box. The part that goes with it is how much work he does for us against the wall, how much pressing, how much sprinting, how much chasing, how much work he does to really make the game difficult on the other team. And so we're really, really happy with the progress that he's made. We're gonna continue to push him.
As he continues to grow, so does the chemistry with his teammates around him.
I've known Julian for a very long time now. I see the way he works in training. I'm getting to know him more and more, obviously, as we play together on and off the field. And then when I step onto the field, I know where he's gonna be on the field, what his positioning is like, where he wants the ball, left foot, right foot. And we're kind of growing that connection, which has been going in a really good way, and hopefully, you know, to grow that connection even more.
Mehmeti, has he broken through here? Mehmeti across, Hall! 2-0!
I think it's just the trust with the coaching staff. Coach Michael, he's done a great job with us during preseason and putting trust in me to start the first couple games. It's a lot of credit to him for putting his belief in me. Obviously, I have to go out there and perform to the best of my ability, and thankfully, I've got a couple goals so far. And the goal is to keep progressing throughout the season.
Talent and work ethic have helped Julian's dreams come true faster than even he could have predicted.
I've always dreamt of becoming a professional soccer player, but I never really expected it to happen so fast, to be honest. You know, earlier that year, I was still just playing academy, and I was progressing well, but I never thought it would lead to signing a contract later that year. So it's kind of a lesson there just to be ready for anything, and anything can happen very, very quickly. You really just have to put your all into whatever you're doing, and things can happen. I think a big thing is just self-belief, because when I was playing in MLS Next, I was signing a contract later that season. I had no idea. I did not have a plan on signing that year. That was not in my plan at all. I think things like that can come from just you doing as much as you can, and things will just happen by itself, you know? As long as you're working hard and giving 100% every single day, you know, good things will happen. And, you know, thankfully things came to me that year, and, you know, you gotta be grateful and you gotta use it as much as you can to your abilities.
Halftime continues in Denver, where the Rapids are up 1-0 on Minnesota United 2. Colorado still looking for win number 1, while Minnesota look to return to 500. 45 minutes in the books. Let's take a look at how we got here throughout all of match week 7. You had a flurry of games, that five game sequence on Saturday. You also had a pair of games on Friday. Also, a lot of results that could really shape up how things can go moving forward. Crown Legacy still proving that they're one of the top dogs in MLS Next Pro. You also have some of the continued escalations of clubs like Columbus Crew 2, despite their struggles of a year ago, Atlantic in the top 4 after missing the playoffs a year ago, and even opportunities for some of these teams to keep climbing as we even shift things over to the West, where St. Louis still remains #1 after taking their 2-1 win against Tacoma on Friday. And we take a look at what's coming ahead. The start of match week 8 in MLS Next Pro. Toronto looking to flip things around, as are NYCFC. NYC have absolutely struggled. And then you have a battle of two sides of the Eastern Conference table on Saturday. Carolina Core currently having the fewest points in the Eastern Conference, while Crown Legacy leads it. And then out west, Minnesota will have its first home game against North Texas. For North Texas, already an early return at 500. Minnesota look to make their way back there. And Austin, our crew will be in MSU Soccer Stadium, where we have the Bulls and the Crew. First half stats on the board. A lot of attempts for both sides, but you've really had a whole load of opportunities for both sides. But nothing has been able to come except for the one goal from Josh Copeland. As we also take a look at how we got to this point in the opening set of 45. We took a look at our halftime highlights through the opening half of play. And a lot of the attack from Colorado has started on that far side. You have the header attempted by Bryce Jamison, still looking to add on to his first goal of the year. And then you have a couple of turnovers from Minnesota, which is where they have had their opportunities come from some of the miscues of the Rapids. Another save there by Christers Bita off of the cross, and then you have Jabari Decato on the far end. Had Alex Harris all alone in the middle, but could not convert. This was the free kick from Caldera that went off of the back of Stuart Baines. It nearly squeaked under the bar. And then you have Copeland again occupying the far side. A quick sidestep at the edge of the box and just bangs it into the top corner. Absolutely smashes it. That's where we stand at halftime.
Should be a fun season of MLS Next Pro. Oh my! Pedrinho wins it!
The unique energy of a Sunday night. Ideal for calm music, whispers, stargazing, reflection, and a relaxed environment. Sunday nights were made for this.
Back to the campus of University of Denver in the Mile High City, as it is a nice, relatively calm 65-degree day here in Colorado. as Minnesota United 2 look to get their way back to 500, as Colorado Rapids 2 are still aiming for their first win of the 2026 season after having their hearts broken in the Next Pro finals last year. Ryan Lee and our entire MLS Next Pro crew, we thank you for joining us. We're only one goal on the board so far. That comes courtesy of Josh Copeland back in the 41st minute. For Copeland, a career high for him. Only one goal in 2025 for Copeland, 2 goals this year, both coming in back-to-back games. The last time out versus St. Louis, and tonight for Copeland. For Colorado, however, they've had struggles on the defensive end, especially towards the tail end of matches. Still yet to really have that full 90 minutes of play. They did cough up a 2-goal lead last time out against St. Louis, which included a game-tying goal in second half stoppage time, or right on the cusp of it. And that was after St. Louis went down to 10 with a red card. Those type of games from Eric Boucher. Just talked about how the guys didn't stop playing, how they needed to just stick with their tweaks and this process. Their defense and winning possession is still a work in progress. And they've had their moments, but they haven't been able to close out. They do so with a 1-goal lead here in the second half as we get started again here on the University of Denver. Colorado will be in the burgundy and blue, going right to left, left to right will be the Loons of Minnesota in the all blue. As Ryan Lee and our entire MLS Next Pro crew, we thank you for joining us back here in Denver, Colorado. Final game of the 16-game slate in Next Pro Match Week 7. It started with a Western Conference showdown with Portland Timbers and LAFC, and it ends with a Western Conference clash between Minnesota United 2 and Colorado Rapids 2. Minnesota look to occupy the far side, enters the area, centering in front, and it just misses. Tumbling in the area, Friedman against Thomas, it comes out of play. It's a chance for the toss by Nick Dang. High arc. Can't beat out the defense. Back into the middle of the area. Backed away. Still up for grabs. Pushed aside by Colorado. Back to Minnesota's half. Randall in a foot race, disrupted by Decato. Only the one shot on target to open the half. And that one shot on target was the lone goal by Copeland in the first half. Chance for the Rapids to build up as a distance try by Jamison is well high off the video board.
That's the fucking ball!
Just shy of half of Colorado's shooting attempts are within frame. A top 3 mark across all of MLS Next Pro. It's not a matter of creating chances. They don't create a lot of chances, but when they do, they are often high danger. And Minnesota on the other end of the spectrum, feeding across. Caldera lets it go. He had an opportunity to drop it off for Vigilante, but it doesn't make its way there. As bodies collide all over the field, and we'll have a straight red. A straight red against Colorado. That looks like the first teamer, Harris. This changes the entire complexion of this game. Very clearly, Harwood does not get to the ball before the slide begins on Harris. And from the slide tackle from behind Nature, that's gonna garner a red card from the officiating crew. Laura Rodriguez with the verdict of the match. 1 yellow card per side. We start off the opening 5 minutes of the second half with a Harris red. And the Rapids will remain 11v10 for the rest of this match. Coming into today, no one in MLS Next Pro has multiple red cards. That now belongs to the Colorado Rapids. Served in by the Loons, into the area, smacked off a face, Friedman couldn't reach. Still alive, Harwood arcs it, cut by Campagnolo.
Come on, you live!
10 teams in Next Pro have been handed a red card at least once throughout the season. Colorado, the only team with 2. Stuart Baines had to force Bite off of his line, and he does so towards Colorado's bench. That was almost a disaster for Kristers Bita in Minnesota. The misplay by Dang. And I'm sure both he and Stuart Baines said the same thing. Now an opportunity for Minnesota to recoup. Towards the area, back to center, but Vigilante forces the flag upward. Assistant referees Joe Sochowski and Jared Mosher. Bowen Taylor is the 4th official to round out our crew in the yellow tonight. Final game of match week 7. Western Conference between Colorado and Minnesota. Long strides, Nathan Chumba got an assist on the opening goal. Here comes Copeland, who scored that goal, bodied off, recovered by Harwood, back to Bita. Copeland hustles back but lost control as it's forced to Minnesota on the throw. Forcing it ahead for Minnesota, edge of the area. Randall curls it off of a defender. First corner of the second half for either squad. There have been 5 total. This is Minnesota's third. In swinger, low driver, headed up for grabs. Backpedaling, Harwood boots it. Jump ball, contact on the keeper, and it'll go back to Colorado. Caldera and Campagnolo going at it. Just a jump ball. You had a high archer from Max Harwood. Caldera most certainly had an opportunity to get the reach, but does have the 2-inch disadvantage on Campagnolo. 6'1" for Caldera, 6'3" for Campagnolo. It allows Campagnolo to reset and resume play. Copeland gave it up. You can see Jabari, Kabusu ready on the far sideline, and that is where we'll go 10 minutes into the second half. Kabusu, the first year from the Minnesota Academy, has only played in 3 matches this year, including the last time out against San Jose and the opening weekend against Austin. He'll take the spot of Jacob Friedman, who was all over the pitch in his 55 minutes worth of service. But maybe the extra man might have played some influence on the opportunity, noting that Kabusu is a little more attacking leaning. Use some reinforcements up the gut, a chance to fly it in, but Tarnu unable to connect with Caldera. Coach Boucher has stood pat. Stuart Baines fighting through the contact, gets around Pachota. Slides it across. Jamison can't connect as he and Dang got pretzeled up. And we have a stoppage in play. You had Jamison and Dang tangled up, eating through contact. Those are 2 big bodies going up against each other. Lots of experience for both of them. Jamison in the USL Championship with Orange County, for Nick Dang in the NCAA with UVA, the Virginia Cavaliers. And you just see some of the aggressive defense that can come with driving through contact. And it's misplayed as Lennox Mua can only watch it out of play. Kabusu got it stripped. Vidal couldn't find the target. You had Bryce Jamison all by himself, just off completely. Vigilante drives it across. Randall leaves it ahead, comes back. Kabusu waits, fires off of Campagnolo. What a stop! Another corner to Minnesota. What a save by Zach Campagnolo. Gets it up top. Jabari Kabusu off for the bench. Fresh legs, lets it fly. And Campagnolo, a fantastic reaction to force another Minnesota corner. Staying perfect so far through 59 minutes. They'll have to stay that way if they want to maintain their 1-0 lead as we close in on the hour. Swung in, headed away. Throw in Minnesota. This part of the match is brought to you by Front Reach Toyota Stores. Toyota, let's go places. Deep try, Vigilante took a clip, still in the mix. Minnesota wants a handball. That is at least one call on both sides that could have been arguable penalties, but both of them were completely waved off. One against Minnesota on a Colorado player back in the first half, this time the reverse. Colorado in their own defensive box on Minnesota. But yet to see a PK in this game. Colorado have yet to have a PK attempt all year. Minnesota, they only have one. And it's given back. Caldera through the legs. Kabusu from range with a block. Thomas sold out, still in motion. Back for Kabusu. Caldera heads it. He scores! But offside. Caldera came close, had a header opportunity on frame. It was offside, it's deemed, and we take a look. Right as it's curled in, that is a tight one. That is a very tight one. There was an offside earlier that was waved off on Bryce Jamison in the first half. They kept it moving and even let it go all the way to a corner for Colorado, although nothing came of it. There have been missed opportunities by both sides. Cameron steps up from his left back spot. Randall chases back as Jamison hustles in. Flying it in, Vigilante forces the landing, couldn't connect. Caldera with bodies and Burgundy in the way. It goes off a man in front. Vigilante dropped it, couldn't fire it, and Colorado finally escaped their own miscues. Stuart Baines around a defender. He's got Copeland, goes back to Stuart Baines. They want the flag up, they get there eventually, even though Stuart Baines finishes it off, but to no avail, it's offside. That one much clearer than the one that they called off on Caldera earlier. And Copeland, and you can very much see that Pachota stops hanging with Stuart Baines.
Attention for substitution. Rapids 2 making their first change. Leading the game, number 49, Nathan Chumba.
So Nathan Chumba, he did get an assist on the opening goal. He is out of the match, where he has the replacement, Sidney Wathuda. Wathuda, a bit more of an attacking presence for the 21-year-old in his second year with Colorado. Into the area, couldn't get to the edge. Contact came as you had Ferris hitting the deck, but this will return to Minnesota. Tossed in, headed away from Thomas. Vigilante back on, he has help from Ferris. Ferris clipped down. Will draw the whistle. Another free kick attempt favoring Minnesota. Colorado has to be careful not to overreach on any of these defensive efforts. They've already got a send-off earlier on a straight red. "20 minutes into the second half, we remain at 1-0. Minnesota looking for the equalizer. Sent to goal, back post, caught by Campagnolo. Way to track the ball, keep it out. Looking for his first clean sheet of the year. Able to get the grab, you had bodies all over the area, but only the two in the back post were able to get through. Had Campagnolo in coverage, everyone else, you just had nothing but Rapids jerseys. Grant Gilmore. Jamison attempted back heel, doesn't go anywhere. Harwood pursues. Harwood steps back, sweeps aside. Randall. Randall around Decato. His centering try is off of Fidal, out of play, corner. 3 in the half, 2 for Colorado all game. It's a part of the game that Minnesota have generated a lot of. Third most corners, 39 going into the weekend, were the Loons. Have 5 in this game versus Colorado's 2, but still yet to show for it tonight at least. Towards the area, headed up, still up for grabs. Thomas, the last bit of contact as it's whistled against Minnesota. Nearly 6,700 total miles traveled for the Loons in their opening 6 games. 6 consecutive road games to enter the season, going from St. Paul to Austin, St. Louis, Vancouver, KC, San Jose, and now to Colorado. I'm sure Minnesota United too have absolutely raked up those air miles from this first month and a half alone. But they get a chance to reap the comforts of home back at NSC Stadium or at Allianz Field, depending on where the host is, as they have a chance to stay in Minnesota for 8 of the next 9. Jamison. Somehow able to keep it away from Harwood. Vigilante in a foot race. He's got Cameron draped all over him. Pass to center. Caldera opens up room. Unable to link up as you had Pachota at the edge of the area. But Waduda reverses the other way. Stuart Baines. He got dropped as Minnesota back in possession. Minnesota have actually generated a couple of shots on target and have now overtaken the advantage in shooting, but all of that to no avail. Still yet to get a potential game-tying goal in the final 20 minutes. Colorado Rapids 2, Minnesota United 2, here on the University of Denver's campus. As Ryan Lee, our MLS Next Pro crew, we thank you for joining us here on the Sunday night to wrap up the Week 7 slate in MLS Next Pro. Colorado looking for win number 1. Minnesota, if they win in regulation, they're back to 500. Stuart Baines, it's not the first time he's been all over the free kick, and they've had enough of it because of the repeat offense. Colorado already having lost Alex Harris, the first teamer, to a straight red early in the second half. Free kick for Minnesota. Nothing there. Cut down. Pachota takes aim, wanting to go towards the back post, but well high of Dang. This part of the match is brought to you by American Family Insurance. Life's better when you're protected under our roof. Eric Boucher being on the upper end of an 11v10 last time out against St. Louis. And they actually did cough up opportunities on the road last time out. Talking about how this Colorado team wants to take pride in their stubbornness on defense. How they want to really make other offenses work all year. Having that strong, tight defense in the back for the Rapids can create opportunities to really control the game better and really dictate their own tempo, as Randall is gingerly hopping on one leg and hasn't gone down yet. Minnesota may be forced to change with Randall struggling to stand his own 2 feet. Campagnolo scoops it in. Cameron at center. Randall back in, trying to walk it off perhaps. Ferris couldn't get around. Back to the Rapids. Watuda leads the charge. Pokes it out where only Copeland can get it. Copeland scored the opening goal back in the 41st with assists from Kai Thomas and from Nathan Chumba. As we have a whistle near the center circle. And that is probably the breaking point for Darius Randall. The 18-year-old, he's played in all 6 games this year, but has started in 5 of them. Has had quite a promising couple of years, especially since 2024. How he's continuously been a regular in the lineup for the Loons. 16 appearances last year, 26 in 2024. As we enter the final 15 minutes of this match, let's take a look back. With 5 minutes remaining in the first half, in the 41st minute, how we got to this point. Josh Copeland sidesteps at the top of the box, and he let an absolute rocket fly. Artemis 2 just touched down, but that was Artemis 3 sent from the foot of Josh Copeland, as we have substitutions coming from Minnesota. We will first and foremost see the MLS Next Pro debut of Mo Bojang, one of the defenders for Minnesota United. You also have Issa Saidi coming in, 17 years old, from the academy out of Zambia. He will take the spot of Darius Randall, who was limping for that large part of the end of the last 5 or 10 minutes or so. And then you have Callan Krolke, another 17-year-old. He's in his second year from the academy program with Next Pro.
Substitutions made in the 74th minute.
So you have that trio of changes for Fernando Adi. And for Coach Adi, maybe a chance to try to find some attacking reinforcements. Edge of the area, scooped in, touch back and scores! Caldera with the header. This time it'll count, and Minnesota have tied this game. Caldera had one called off earlier on a header because it was claimed to be offside. This time they look for him again, and he does get that elusive fourth goal and puts Minnesota in a 1-1 game, and with a man up, they get their first goal with 15 minutes remaining. And in that sequence, Colorado want reinforcements, especially in the middle of the park. Landon Strohmeyer comes into the match. Bryce Jamison is the replacement. For Strohmeyer, the 17-year-old from Denver, in his third season playing with the Rapids, but only 12 total matches in Next Pro. This game has absolutely blown open. Quick twirl from Strohmeyer, hits the feet of Kabusu. Smackdown, foul. Saidi, edge of the area, cuts it back, centering feed again, couldn't link with Caldera. Try from deep, took a ricochet, Pachota off of Caldera, and it's another! Back to back for Caldera, and just like that, a man up, a goal up, Minnesota leads. No matter how you chalk it up, Caldera has scored multiple goals in this game. The bouncer from Pachota from deep just took the tiniest of clips off of the foot of Marcus Caldera to redirect it into the corner. And just like that, in a matter of 2.5 minutes, Minnesota are in front. How does Colorado respond, either defensively or offensively? You had 2 goals from Marcus Caldera up in the front. 75th minute goal for Caldera and a 78th minute goal as it stands. Comes back to the other end. Christos Bita hasn't really had a lot to deal with, especially since Harris got ejected in the 50th. And in quick succession, 2 goals for Marcus Caldera. In only a matter of 2:10. 75th minute, 78th minute.
Up and down! Oh! Let's go!
Still scrambling, takedown from behind. Pachota gets cut down, and this will draw a whistle. Also, Mo Bojang, after making his MLS Next Pro debut, he got a secondary assist on the first Caldera goal. Served into the area again. Caldera heads it down, but couldn't get it across, as it'll be held on by Tarnu offside. Keep in mind also, Caldera got a goal called off in the first half for being offside, and then gets 2 of his own to recoup for that. Turnover, Caldera spins in the area, took a ricochet, and missed. Doesn't matter, offside. This part of the match is brought to you by UC Health. With personalized care in locations across Colorado, UC Health is here for you. No matter where your story takes you, UC Health, live extraordinary. Colorado looked to maybe tie things up, but it doesn't matter because of a whistle against the Rapids. Deep try, the tangle up. Tarnu and Cameron going at it since they made some defensive changes. Almost picked off with a sliding vigilante. Gives room. Waduda. Pardon, that's Decato. Waduda back in pursuit, up on his feet. Camardi Stuart Baines. Waduda. Waduda circles back.
Don't rush it! Don't rush it!
Rapids still with it, looking to stick to the outside. Decato stops in. Offensive foul. Minnesota have probably had a couple opportunities where they could have had some danger from Colorado's offense, but a couple of careless offensive fouls on the Rapids have favored the Loons and have allowed Krister Bita to serve it deep. Caldera can't beat out Gilmore. This goes keeper to keeper. So with the final 5 minutes of the game, Eric Boucher will make his final set of adjustments as they still continue to look at Philip Tarnu, one of the defenders for Minnesota, who gets looked at. He actually had a MLS Next Pro debut last time out against San Jose. This is only a second ever game where he also makes a start. The Liberian international, where he was a part of the 2026 AFCON and World Cup qualifiers. He is getting looked at as we have 3 changes coming for Eric Boucher. Noah Strelnauer will come into the match, as will Charlie Harper and Rogelio Garcia. So Josh Copeland, Jabari Decato, and Grant Gilmore will be the 3 who come out. Rogelio Garcia, 17 years old, in his 3rd season with Rapids 2. Charlie Harper missed part of last year with a calf injury, but he's in for a 2nd season with the Rapids. And Strelnauer, 18 from Vegas, year number 3, 52 total matches for Strelnauer. And that is 2 defenders and a forward for 2 forwards and a defender. Attacking midfielder if you want to pick hairs with Garcia. Watuda, edge of the area, lost his footing, gets back. Strohmeyer helps out as Colorado back on, center of the box, punched away by Bita. Stuart Bain centers, Strohmeyer fans it, Watuda centers, saved by Bita. No one there to collect the rebound. Minnesota finally clear. A couple of excellent saves by Campagnolo to keep this game close. This is the first big save by Krister Bita all game long. Had the cross attempted, you had a couple of jerseys in the way, but the kick out to a place where no one can get it probably changes the complexion of this game. Had that been to any of the Rapids players, that could have been an opportunity. That time the contact will do so, to the results of a yellow card against Minnesota. That's Ferris into the book. So minutes after coming onto the game, about a dozen minutes after Kellen Grolke gets subbed on, he gets taken off. Very rare situation, often because of any sort of injury-related circumstance. So it's Grolke out and the MLS Next Pro debut of Hector Cruz. That's 2 Next Pro debuts for the Loons. Bojang comes in, as does Cruz.
number 75, Hector Cruz. Cruz replaces Holtby in the 80th minute.
The preparation in these late game moments were some of the keys for Fernando Adi, the head coach of Minnesota. How the preparation will take its place in situations like these. They'll have to look out for a free kick. Final minutes of the 90 with an opportunity to tie. Watuda by himself. Watuda attempted, headed, Cameron, follow up from Garcia. Still alive, Caldera cuts it down and a chance to escape for Minnesota. Down the sideline, takedown. Yellow card against Colorado as Pachota gets back on his feet.
It's all good, Sydney!
So, into the book goes Sidney Watuda after he took contact with Luciano Pachota. They were both on a yellow. At least now they're both on a yellow. As we are at the 90.
Fourth official is indicated a minimum of 5 minutes will be added in the second half.
5 minutes remain as Bita fires it in deep, straight back to the Rapids. A man down, a chance to reclaim. Caldera bobbled away from him, gets it back. Attempted cross, goes off Watuda. Nothing more can be done as Kabusu could only fly it in. Colorado trying to go quick, but our head officials a bit on the precise side of things. Noah Strollnauer. Kai Thomas couldn't get past. But way to hustle back to prevent any further progress from Sam Vigilante. Dang gets there before Watuda. 1.5 deep of 5.
Back up, Sydney! Back up!
Dang with the foul, another deep free kick for Colorado. Colorado still looking for the first win of the year. If Minnesota close out in the next 3 minutes, they'll be back to 500. 2-3-0 are Minnesota at this early point of the year. Watuda attempted, headed away, and a chance to turn around and clear it out. Loons in pursuit, all by himself, but a very aggressive play by Campagnolo to go all the way to the center circle to prevent any further forward progress. Issa Saidi and Marcus Caldera were streaking. Caldera already on a break. He was drafted 20th overall in 2024, was Marcus Caldera. He actually went back to college with the Mountaineers of West Virginia, and in doing so, he had 2 more years where he was an All-Sun Belt nominee, Offensive Player of the Year of the Sun Belt in 2025, and he's back with Minnesota now, where they have the possession and have 2 more minutes to eat up on Colorado, where they lead 2-1. They'll spend 8 of the next 9 in the comforts of home in Minnesota, a place where they were really strong last year. 7-9-2 were the Loons' record back in home soil. They'll have to close this one out on the road to end their 6-game road run to begin the year. Strelnauer keeps it in play. Stuart Baines. Utilizing the width with Wathuta. Punched out Tarnu. Wathuta hustles back. It's still sitting Wathuta. In the final minute of stoppage, Cameron. That should have been a corner. That went off of the toe of Luciano Pachota, but angles and the perspective most certainly can affect the ruling. Final 30. Minnesota to center. Hector Cruz misplayed, stripped by Rogelio Garcia. Garcia still on his feet. Strelnauer. Cameron controls. Final seconds for Colorado. Centering feed, blocked and taken away. And they gave the whistle to Minnesota, even though Philip Tarnu was home free. Another yellow card coming.
Come on!
So it's Noah Strelnauer who also gets a yellow card. Pardon, that wasn't Strelnauer, that was Cameron. They were both in the vicinity though. Minnesota come home, back to 500. 3 for 3 as they take this one on the road. 2-1, the final in Denver. Our man of the match, presented by Adidas, goes to the one man who not only tied the game, but claimed it when it's all said and done. Marcus Caldera, a pair of goals, 2-10 apart. The header on the back post off of the feed from Philip Tarnu, and then minutes later, Tarnu had the attempt, couldn't get it, it was blocked, but Pachota from deep had the ricochet off of Caldera to score again, and it only took 2 whole minutes to go from down 1 to up 1, which is where we end here in Denver. You can watch all of MLS Next Pro all season long at MLSNextPro.com and OneFootball. The final here in Denver, Minnesota wins by a final of 2-1. For our entire MLS Next Pro broadcast crew, I'm Ryan Lee. Thank you for joining us, and have a great rest of your night.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.